Hi everyone, I am Boquita Fuerte, and I am wearing this ridiculous hat because I want to feel festive. And with Marvel gaining new and deserved popularity thanks to the hashtag FreeMVC2 movement, I thought it'd be fun to theorize what an upcoming Marvel's Capcom 4 or 5, depending on how you view Infinite, roster would look like, according to today's standards and popularity of said characters. And when you have celebrities like Michael B. Jordan tweeting about his love for MVC2, it's a renaissance at this point, right? Like, we are definitely in like this new age of Marvel, and that's kind of amazing. I decided on a few rules. I'm going to assume that an upcoming MVC title would have at the very least 60 characters, 30 from Marvel and 30 from Capcom. So I'm going to try my best to take into account for characters' abilities. The roster itself won't have too many like archetypes or characters who are of similar playstyles. Bringing you part 1 of a 2-part video series. Starting with the Marvel side, I bring you 30 potential Marvel characters who could make it into Marvel's Capcom 4 or 5. It doesn't make a difference. Let's rock. Starting with Spider-Man, and this is a no-brainer. He's the webhead, and Sony is very generous these days about his inclusion and non-Sony appearances. Although one could potentially argue that he could become a licensed nightmare because of Sony's ownership of Spider-Man, but we've seen him now in Marvel Alliance 3 and Fortnite, so like a deal can totally be made there. He's also a veteran of the roster. He's a veteran of the Versus series. Also, if I had to chime in on this, I would love to see some kind of rendition of like even Spider-Gwen or Miles Morales, although I feel that's a little unlikely. Moving on to number 2, Wolverine. And although he's missing from Infinite, X-Men is officially back. Yay! With a brand new season of the X-Men anime series on the rise, coming into works thanks to Disney. And then, of course, Disney having the plans for the inclusion of X-Men and mutants into the MCU. So there's no need to fear, the unacceptable will be here. He is going to Berserker Barrage his way back into our hearts. And I just think there's no reason to not assume that Wolverine will be back. Number 3, Iron Man, as if there was any other choice. Tony Stark will make his return. It would be nice to see some dope suits, skins, maybe even like an Ironheart skin or like Pepper Potts being playable in some kind of, way. There's just no reason why we shouldn't expect to hear Unibeam anytime soon. And the real question is whether or not we will ever see War Machine come back, but I highly doubt that's ever going to happen. Number 4, Captain America, Shield Slash, right? Final Justice. There's just no way he's not going to be in a game. I'd love to see U.S. Agent skin or reference, since now U.S. Agent John Walker is officially in the MCU. And considering that U.S. Agent did once make an appearance, and I believe Marvel 1 as like a weird assist type character, it would be really cool just to see that, get referenced back. My hair is ridiculous right now. I apologize, but this is what curls are like. Just, get this man a shield. I mean, he's ready for battle. Cap is going to come back. There's just no way he won't. Number 5, the Incredible Hulk. Another no-brainer, or should I say no-banner? Oh my god, I'm so funny. Hulk is not only a Versus series staple, but he's the big guy of the series. And sure, Juggernaut made his appearance before Hulk as a big guy. But Hulk has easily become the necessary heavy for the Versus series. Gamma Tsunami, I don't think I need to say anything else. Hulk is definitely coming back. Number 6 is Thor. Because why not have another obvious pick? We need our Asgardian Pikachu. We need him. Although a somewhat weaker character in Marvel 3, Thor was a much better character in Infinite. Maybe not by too much, but he is better than Infinite. Like, I can definitely feel how he's better in Infinite. Mostly because of how the mechanics of Infinite work. It's a very different game. And Thor surely picked up his weight. And people seem to really like playing as him, even now more so in Marvel 3. There's kind of been this, like, Thor renaissance. This hat is stupid. I'm so sorry. I respect Thor. I respect people who play him. And he will definitely make it back to the game. Lightning Tornado is actually one of my favorite aesthetically pleasing supers in any fighting game. Number 7 is Hawkeye. There's no reason for Clint Barton to not return, but I could always see Kate Bishop picking up the mantle, taking the moniker, basically picking up where Hawkeye left off. And just especially with the Hawkeye series picking up a lot of steam, and there's been more appreciation for the character in recent years with comics and appearances. There's just no way that Hawkeye won't be in the game. Again, I could totally see Kate Bishop be the new Hawkeye. I think that'd be really cool. Actually, that would be very cool. or at least like an alternate skin. Maybe just have both. There's no reason to not have both versions or iterations of those characters. Like with Captain America, there's no reason to not have like a US agent like skin, and then he has a different dialogue, and I don't know. That's just how I feel. Plus, he's a great archer zoner, and honestly, I won't lie, I'm a little biased. Hawkeye's become one of my favorite characters to play in recent times in Marvel 3 and Infinite. Gimlet is one of my favorite special moves. I never misses. Never misses. Until it does, right? Number 8, Rocket Raccoon. He's returning. Like, he's Rocket Raccoon. Like, it's a combination of his popularity as a character and his overall gameplay mechanics. And but Marvel 3 and Infinite, we'll make sure of it, you know. And Sonic Fox made him very, much more popular to play as in Infinite, and people have been going back to play Rocket again. And while I would say in Marvel 3, he kind of needs assist, he can still hold his own with log trap mix-ups and the spring traps, all that kind of stuff. Like, he can really hold his own. He's a great point character, but I've seen people run him as anchor. Anyway, besides the point, he's got great assists and mix-ups, and he's a super cool character outside of games, has lots of appeal, he's very popular. Like, Rocket's coming back. And I'm even surprised because I don't think people realize that Rocket made his appearance in a video game before he ever made his appearance in the MCU. And thanks to Bradley Cooper's wonderful performance as the character, people love Rocket. He's the shit. Loads of appeal. Number 9 is Captain Marvel. And if you think otherwise, you are sorely mistaken. The Captain of Space will definitely make her return. They've been pushing for her to make even the smallest appearances and things outside of her MCU debut. And she has lots of cool powers and abilities. We'll probably never see the return of Nova because of her. And I'm somewhat okay with that. And she also low-key replaces the role of Rogue, and which gives another chance for like another character to represent another series or another IP. Like, why have Rogue when you can have Captain Marvel? And the reason why I do compare the two characters because they are synonymous with one another. Because for those who don't know, the reason Rogue nearly killed Carol Danvers in the comics, and that's basically how Rogue gained her abilities to fly and have super strength. And I think that's something that a lot of people kind of don't know today, but that's kind of why I say that she's the new Rogue. And that's cool. I'm okay with that. Like, she's cool. I actually have a Captain Marvel coffee mug and a plate. I'll probably have those pictured. Number 10 is Magneto. You thought I wasn't going to include him in the obvious picks. Again, like I said, these 10 characters are like going to be obvious picks. He's not only the character with an 8-way dash, but he's fucking Magneto. Like, come on, he's Magneto. Magneto is by far one of the coolest and most popular comic book characters, lord. And he's a part of what makes the Versus games both interesting and unique. He's not, he not being an Infinite felt extremely empty. It definitely dampened the roster. Gravity squeeze, you are defeated, and just Magneto, he's awesome. We need him, right? We need Magneto. Now, these next 5 characters might be obvious picks, but for me personally, they're characters that if they weren't included in the main roster in some shape or form, Capcom and Marvel will literally be committing crimes against humanity. These are characters that need to be on the main roster, regardless of opinions. These are characters who represent something very important in Marvel. They just simply have to be in MVC based on principle. Starting with number 11, Black Panther. Sure, he was a somewhat slower rendition of Wolverine and Infinite in terms of function. And although, in my opinion, not nearly as good as Wolverine, T'Challa is just an amazing character. And as much as I didn't want to bring this up due to Chadwick Boseman passing, there truly is, because Chadwick Boseman really did bring T'Challa to life in the best way possible. Considering how Black Panther is portrayed in the comics, he's very stoic. Keep him in, just put the wall hops and cool slashes, and there's just so much you can do with Black Panther. There really is. Just make him a much better character because he deserves that respect. Number 12, Scarlet Witch. Wanda has to be, she has to make a Marvel vs. Capcom debut. Wanda Maximoff absolutely needs to be in Marvel vs. Capcom. Imagine she's full, insanely cool, magical hex abilities. Maybe she can manipulate the character, or even resurrect someone on her team with 25% health, come back, or something cool like that, right? And of course that would cost 3 meters. That would have to cost 3 bars. There's no way it's not gonna be a level 2 or level 3 super. It would be really cool if she could also trick one of your opponents. Like say if her assist was essentially a counter assist, to where if it hit the opponent, it hexed them, and now like you have that assist, and like Scarlet Witch will come out with them, and like they will both do like an attack. That'd be kind of cool, right? Something just really unique that way, where she really stands out, and she would probably have a lot of zoning tools. I could see her replacing Storm, but more on that later. Number 13 is THANOS. Snap. I don't know if the mic picks that up. I don't. But THANOS first made his appearance like in Marvel 2, I believe, as like a playable character, not like an assist. And he was fun to say the least, and he did have an infinite, like half the roster does in that game. But in Marvel Infinite, Thanos is like this refined beast, like who could really carry your team into victory. And not only is he iconic, especially now in MCU history and just cinematic history, but he belongs in the game. I've always loved like Celestials, and I've always looked at the cosmic entities and beings in Marvel Comics, and Thanos was always a character I really liked as a kid. Next is Deadpool, number 14, Deadpool. Yes, not only is the Merc with a mount an absolute blast to play in Marvel 3, but he's Deadpool. I'm not the biggest Deadpool fan by any means at all, but I understand how important he is to fans and players alike, and how important he is to Marvel. Going through this list as how important these characters are to Marvel. There's just so much you could do with him. Number 15 is Dormammu. He's an excellent character, first off in Marvel 3 and Infinite. Plus he made an appearance in the Doctor Strange movie in his crazy Chaos Dimension form, which is actually referenced with his like level 3 super. Well, to see him return, and I'm all about villains, and I think he's an amazing Marvel villain to have. If not Dormammu, the only other villain I could see essentially replacing him would either be like Mephisto or Blackheart, right? That's it. That's the only other characters I could see replacing him. Now, these next 4 characters are characters that I could absolutely see returning, but I wouldn't miss them if they were gone. Not because I dislike them. It's far from that. I think these characters are great and also fun to play all together, so let's just get to it. Number 16 is Doctor Strange. And while Strange is easily one of my all-time favorite comic book characters from the Marvel Universe, his gameplay, in my opinion, more or less leaves a lot to be desired. In Marvel 3, he's kind of just an assist. I mean, he's similar, he reminds me of like Captain Commando in Marvel 2, where it's just the assists, right? It's just like that one DHC super that you go into. Like, he kind of has that role, in my opinion. In Marvel Infinite, he's a much better character, standalone, especially like a standalone character. I just feel there's a lot more they could do creatively with Doctor Strange. Again, I love him. Like, I love Stephen Strange. In fact, he really is like in my top 5 favorite Marvel, like, heroes, let's just say characters. He really is. Like, I love Stephen Strange. And part of why I love Stephen Strange is because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. And Spider-Man and Stephen Strange are big bros. You know, there's homies in the comics, and I've always really like enjoyed their dynamics. Yeah, that's about all I have to say for Strange. Number 17, ULTRON. Now, I don't see how ULTRON wouldn't make their way back into the roster, especially with the recent popularity of MCU and having Age of Ultron. And he's incredibly fun in Marvel Infinite, and he's not my favorite character, but in terms of like my favorite like Marvel like characters, like I just think there are other like villainous characters that are just way cooler than Ultron. And I think part of it is because of his motive, but whatever, I don't have to, we're not going into that. So with that being stated, the moveset can just be given to a handful of other characters. Like, they could literally just bring Sentinel back. Like, we didn't need Ultron. But is Ultron amazing in Infinite? Yes. Is he a great character? Yes. Is he a character who I feel that anyone could just pick up and play? And he's beginner friendly, and he's a very strong character. But again, like it could be anyone else. It doesn't have to be Ultron. Number 18, GAMORA. Like, she's making a comeback. GAMORA is going to be in the game. Not only is she one of the more popular characters from Guardians, it's just kind of an obvious choice. And while she's someone who replaced the likes of Zoner characters like Cable and like Phoenix Jean Grey, thank God, I wouldn't miss her. Although I enjoy her gameplay in Infinite, I just feel like she's someone who could be off the roster and we wouldn't miss her. And not because she's not cool. I just think, and I'm gonna say this, I think a cooler character to have in terms of like appearance, personality, especially someone from Guardians of the Galaxy, would be Yondu. I think Yondu would be a really cool character, and I think this, and because the thing is, Yondu is like a pure archer, and the comic books, like he doesn't have that, like that little weapon he has in the movie, that was like made up for MCU. But I think that's actually really cool, and that would be a really cool design, I think, to use for a fighting game like Marvel. Something that you can control space with, freeze in the air, do some cool combo, ching, hit him with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, things like that. Like, that's how I can see it. Again, do I think Gamora is bad? Not at all. I think she's really fun, really good. But again, she just kind of has beams and guns, and I think that could be anybody, right? Like they could literally be Punisher. That could literally be Cable. That's all I'm saying. And she basically is Cable in the game. Like, that's just how she plays. Number 19 is Nova. And to be honest, in the middle of making this list, I forgot that he was in Marvel Infinite. Like, I literally forgot that Nova was in Infinite. Don't get me wrong, he's a blast to play in Marvel 3, and he's an amazing member to have in almost any team. He's an amazing point character. He does great damage. Energy javelin. Like, he's got a great assist. He's got great mix-up options. He's got all that going for him. But his moveset could literally go to someone like Adam Warlock. Now, Nova is an OG character from Marvel. And that's the reason why he was never in the movies, because of like Fox owns Nova, the character, technically. Again, Nova could just be Adam Warlock, and I think Adam Warlock would be a cooler character, since Adam Warlock as a character plays a more central role in the entirety of Marvel Universe. Not just like an Avengers lineup or a Guardians lineup. Like, Adam Warlock, he has a bigger impact on the overall ball that stays rolling in comics. Number 20 is Ghost Rider. I have no qualms with the likes of Johnny Blaze, and and it makes me so happy that Ghost Rider gets representation in a Marvel vs. Capcom game. But he's just not fucking good. Like, he sucks. I think part of it is just he's disappointing to me. Like, because I remember when I first saw that Ghost Rider was going to be in the game, I'm thinking, oh, dude, he's going to fucking use the chain to go all over the fucking stage, do all this crazy shit. And I imagine he was going to play more like Omega Red in Marvel 2. Omega Red's an awesome character, but imagine if Ghost Rider had a similar moveset to Omega Red, and also had the crazy zoning opportunities and Johnny Blaze on his bike. I think that's what Ghost Rider needs. I feel like his movement options are really limited, and I think that if he had the ability to just like latch onto walls and do all that cool stuff that Omega Red could do in MVC2, he would be a better character. He's a little better in Infinite, but I still think he's disappointing. Just fix him or I'll leave him out the game, because they are doing him a disservice just by making him like this weird zoner type, and I stand by that. I stand by that, and I'll die on that hill. Like, they're just doing him a huge service. He deserves better. He deserves better. Refix this character or just don't have him at all, because why are you gonna put Ghost Rider in a fighting game and then he's just not that good? He's fucking Ghost Rider. Moving on, the next entry is 21 to 25. Are characters who I firmly stand by that need to be in this game in terms of like personal wish fulfillment. These are my opinion characters. These are 5 characters who I believe have to be in this game, where like I would throw the game away if at least 3 of these characters don't make it in. Probably not, I'd still play it. So take these with a grain of salt. These are like my hardcore opinions. So number 21 would be Shang-Chi. It's a no-brainer. I think he's going to be in the top of just about anybody's list. Shang-Chi is an incredible pick who mostly fleshed out the roster with the martial arts and Ten Rings abilities. Just do him justice. Don't do what they did to Iron Fist and make him this like super grounded, boring kind of character. Iron Fist just is not that good in Marvel 3. Like, he's just a really boring character and he needs a lot of resources to do super cool things on his own. Alright, so number 22. Please, for the love of God, for the love of Odin, bring back Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom is the character who needs to be in this game. It felt so weird to not have him in Marvel Infinite. He's just such an iconic character for the Marvel series, with hidden missiles and Doom Time and Foot Dive and the jumping like gun beam, and I don't think I need to say any more. Number 23 is Venom. Do I need to explain this inclusion also? Pretty sure it's on top of everybody else's list. Venom is amazing. Like, we are Venom. We must devour brains and be in a goddamn game. Moving on. My 24 is a character, again, he's probably my second most character that I really want in the game. And that would be Blade. I would give my soul for Blade to make an appearance. The Daywalker is an amazing character overall, and with the upcoming MCU film, it just feels like it's time to shine. So please give us Blade in all his vampiric glory. I could see him have like an install super too, where he's like powered up on blood and shit. I could see him having just like throwing like projectiles at the shurikens and using his sword and just doing all that cool stuff. I could just see him doing a lot of really unique things. Other than that, I mean, again, people have fond memories of the original Blade movie, and growing up having read comics of Blade, I think it would be really cool to have him. If not Blade, Morbius is another cool character, another cool vampire character. Just saying, just put Blade in a game, please. That's it. Number 25, this inclusion here is the single character that if I can't have in Marvel's Capcom, I might throw the entire game away. But for the love of Odin, or should I say, for the love of the Frost Giants of Jotunheim, please give me Loki. I could think of a million ways he could fight and play. Like seriously, I've dreamed of having Loki on NBC. With his rise in popularity, I'll proudly be part of the Loki army. I guarantee that if we get another Marvel game, he's gonna be my main. It's that simple. Please give us Loki. Teleportation, throwing blades, maybe putting out like I wouldn't say like Sub-Zero ice clones, but like having like a clone of himself, doing all that cool shit. And there's just so much you could do with the character. And then giving me a President Loki skin, I'm set, man. Set for life. Now, number 26 to 30 are going to be more or less theoretical characters who I think would fit into Marvel perfectly, but will be unlikely entries due to either similarities or maybe they're like more like second thought characters. And I hate to say that, but I just feel, but I'm trying to be realistic. As much as I would like these characters to all be in the game, I don't see it happening. Anyway, starting with number 26, who I think would be in the game, but I'm not confident that they would make the space for him. And that would be Falcon. Yes, Sam Wilson. I don't see why he wouldn't be in the game. I love Sam Wilson. He's an amazing character. I love how the MCU has retconned him to be from New Orleans, which is where I'm from. And I'm a little biased because Anthony Mackie is also from New Orleans. And I love Anthony Mackie. I actually met him once at Barcadia here in New Orleans years ago. It was after a Pelicans game. It was really nice. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Sam Wilson as Captain America, but I just don't think they would replace Steve Rogers in the game. However, I could see how he would work. Like maybe he could throw the shield still and then be able to fly and like do like dive kicks, but like he's diving like a falcon at you, and you can summon like Red Wing and, you know, just do a bunch of cool stuff. Sam Wilson, I think, would be a great character. I feel like he would be on the main roster because of how I have limited this and because of my bias with like characters like Loki. I don't know. It's hard to say if Falcon would be in the final build. He would probably be DLC, right? Number 27 is Storm. The reason why Storm is on this list, on this part of the list, is because I just don't see how she will come back if they already have enough like representation of like X-Men. And part of it is because I feel like they're gonna pick Wanda. If they had to pick like someone who's like a flyer and has like zoning properties and tools, they're definitely gonna use Wanda, because you could definitely have Scarlet Witch essentially with Storm's moveset. Like you could, it'd probably be a bit different here and there. It would be awesome to have them both because Aurora is amazing and she's a great character, and we would like to cause some typhoons and icicle storms and shit. That'd be sick, right? So I feel like we need her. 28 is Black Widow. I love this character, Marvel Infinite, and in fact I would move mountains, make sure we could have her like movement and abilities with some kind of character in a game. She's one of my favorite characters in the fighting game to play as. She's part of the reason why I go back to play Marvel Infinite, believe it or not, just to experience her playstyle. Like I can literally sit in training mode with Black Widow for like hours and I'm good. Like that's how much fun I have playing her. I don't even need to have an opponent to play her. I can just beat up a dummy and I'm okay with that. Now, no part of me feels as she wouldn't be in the game because she's very popular, but I could see them canning her if they need a shortened list. That's all. Number 29 is a character that I feel strongly about, but will probably never be in the game, is Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards. I know that the Miss Marvel show is right around the corner, and I know that Kamala Khan is very popular and they have somewhat similar abilities, and they're both pretty smart people. I think it's important that Fantastic Four gets representation in Marvel's Capcom. Considering that it's one of Stan Lee's earliest works, Also considering that Fantastic Four really kickstarted Marvel to like its, you know, its golden age. Like it definitely did. I could also see like Human Torch or Super Skrull coming back to fill this role, because essentially the reason why Super Skrull exists in Marvel 3 was a way to combine all the abilities of the Fantastic Four characters into one character and kind of save space in the roster. Like that makes sense. And then Super Skrull also ends up being this really fun to play character. But in my opinion, we need to respect Fantastic Four. And considering that there could be an MCU property coming out, I just think it's important for them to get justice. And if you're going to do it right, do it in Marvel. But Reed Richards should take it, because I mean, he is Fantastic Four. So, but I can see Franklin Richards being the character to decide to pick, since he is a bit more interesting. And they're not going to do Thing, because we're going to probably already have like Hulk and Hagar. So like, they're not going to do the Thing. Now, number 30, the final Marvel comic character who I would think would make for an appropriate Marvel's Capcom inclusion is the man without fear himself, Matt Murdock, Daredevil. Just think about it. He'd be really cool, fast paced, have like ninja abilities. I can see him having like using his extrasensory abilities too for like maybe really cool like counter options. Like maybe he could be like a defensive ninja other than like an offensive ninja. Because in most fighting games, like ninjas are just all over the place. But imagine he's all over the place, but he's just blocking and countering. And it would be really cool to just have someone from the Defenders as well being represented, because that is to me a very underrated like faction in Marvel Comics. But yeah, I guess you also see Thunderbolts and Dark Avengers, right? But anyway, but it's just that Iron Fist is just not interesting enough, and I would rather have Matt Murdock, someone who can control space, maybe like put like, you know, little wire tonfas in one spot, set up traps, do really cool ninja shit. Yeah. And I would say, I guess another honorable mention would be Elektra, but I just don't feel like Elektra would be in the game. That's it. I hope you enjoy. Part 2 of this video will be covering the Capcom side of things. It will be out very soon. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to tell your loved ones that you love them. It's very important. I will be seeing Spider-Man No Way Home tonight, which I'm very excited about. Well, rather, I'll be seeing it at 3 p.m. But this video will probably be out after I've seen Spider-Man. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, peace.
Select your hero.